You're from Nebraska, relatively new to Western New York, right?
Yes. Thanks for having me. I am very new. I just moved here about a month ago.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And you're right. I grew up in Nebraska.
Everything you've heard about our weather was a lie. Sunny every day, 60s, even 70s, right? Come on.
Now, hey, although I grew up in Nebraska, I have been living in Minnesota for about the past 18 years. This is a major upgrade in weather. In general, it's about 10 to 15 degrees warmer here. It's basically a tropical climate compared to where I came from.
And of course, it's like this every year.
It's great.
Right?
Excellent.
It's
I'm
always
sure.
like this.
Well, what drew you here?
Honestly, the opportunity to help build a team that's going to transform how we do transplants and cell therapy. I know that sounds like a big statement, but we absolutely mean it. Thinking back over the years of where our field has been, it used to be that a stem cell transplant, or what we used to call a bone marrow transplant, was a last resort. It had a very high mortality rate. People were afraid to go through the procedure because of complications, including late effects that might linger for decades. But our research has really transformed the field over the past few years. And now it has gone from something that used to be thought of as the last resort to something that a lot of people should be having early in their course, mostly for cancers of the bone marrow, such as leukemia, myelodysplastic syndrome, and lymphoma. But now we have the ability to do these procedures very safely with an excellent long-term quality of life afterwards. So we just want to transform our practice here and make this accessible to more people.
And I feel like from previous interactions we've had with other people on staff, like yourself at Roswell Park, that they are very much on the cut. You are on the cutting edge of that, like globally, which
Correct.
I don't think, until I got the tour with a bunch of our coworkers, we've heard about Roswell Park our whole lives here, living here. But I had no idea that it was such a leader in the field.
Absolutely. You have spoken with some of the world's leading experts in developing new cell therapies. So Roswell Park is on the cutting edge of that. But I want to speak, if I can, just for a moment about how my research is actually different and complementary to the people who are developing amazing cell therapies here. My work is all about reducing toxicities and reducing burdens. And we've been able to transform transplants to use fewer medications, and older and cheap medications have been repurposed for new treatments now. And so the work that we've been doing makes the whole procedure easier, less expensive, less burdensome, fewer medications. My very best day as a doctor is when I get to tell someone, you don't have to take any more medicines. You're done.
And this would be, the point has been made, and a lot of people do know about Roswell's status and excellence in this area and others. This is the first hub in New York State for cell therapy.
Correct. There's definitely a big vision for what we'll be building here. We just really want to be able to bring people in, have them receive the best therapy for them, have a great experience, and then go home and live their lives. Right? We want to be able to deliver what people need that's personalized to them, but then, get them back to life so they can do the things that they care about, not have to stay tethered necessarily to doctors having continuous therapy, taking a lot of medications. Really, the vision is come here, let us help you get through this very difficult thing, and we're going to help you get home and hopefully not have big burdens going forward.
What is a typical day like for you?
I can tell you about today, for example.
Great.
Except for
aside from this hellacious appearance you have to make with us.
This would be abnormal. So my alarm clock goes off at 4:40 in the morning.
All right, I quit already.
You're in the lead.
All right. I lift weights in the morning. So it's very important to maintain, muscle strength to get through the day. So I lift weights. This morning attended a meeting where we're talking about some of the newer policies and procedures that we're implementing at the Institute. And then I rounded on patients in the hospital. I saw, I think, 23 patients this morning, greeted them, helped them through their procedure, managed side effects, did some counseling with families, gave reassurance, and honestly did a lot of cheerleading. This is also a very important part of my job, is the encouragement. Like, you're doing great. I know this is hard, but you got this. So lots of cheerleading until noon. Then I had a meeting with the team talking.
Wait, it's only noon?
It's only noon by this time.
Time for bed.
At noon, I had a team meeting talking with those who are helping our patients get onboarded and who are about to receive cell therapies. And then I had several meetings throughout the day where I got to connect with a number of people in various disciplines, pediatrics, pharmacy, lots of different areas. And then I had lunch at 4:30. Sorry, I know I should do better about that. And then I came here to see you guys.
All right.
Any advice on getting alarm clocks to go off? Asking for my kids. If you have any way of telling me how to set up alarm clocks so they actually do go off in the morning, that would be helpful.
I use my iPhone, to be honest. The alarm setting is great. And I am one of those that I have to set a backup and then a second backup. Sometimes that 4:40 is early, but
you get up right when it goes off.
Yes. But
We'll
if there's a little orientation that I need to get the motivation, then the 4:51 definitely gets me out of bed.
There's nothing worse than, well, I don't want to say this the wrong way. I was about to say there's nothing worse than being in bed with my wife. Bad way to phrase it. But like in the morning, right? She's a nurse practitioner. When she's working mornings, it's 5:30 a.m. and she is a snooze. So it's like, there's the alarm. And I'm awake.
Mm-hmm.
Snooze. 10 minutes later, alarm 3 times. Oh my God. I don't know. 25 years coming up. So, we're going to make it, I think. I'm optimistic, but man, that's the worst.
It is a challenge, right? I have to be very sensitive to that as well. But one of the other ways that it's easy to get up in the morning is that I have a group of people who expect to see me.
Yeah.
So I've got some great gym friends. If I'm not there, I'm going to get phone calls. I'm going to get nasty grams.
It's good to have peer pressure like that.
So
absolutely.
When Dr. Holton says she lifts weights, just so everybody knows, Bulldog and I have been meeting in this room for 21 years every afternoon. We've talked to literally tens of sports stars, record holders, NBA legend Rick Barry. I'm name dropping for one. You are a record holding power lifter.
I held a record. I don't currently
You're a former record holding power lifter.
Yeah, this is true. So the sport of powerlifting consists of 3 main moves. There's the squat, which is where you hold the barbell on your back and you sit back and have your hips go below your knees, and then you stand back up with a barbell. So that's a squat. And then there's bench press. I think everyone knows what bench press is. And then deadlift. That's taking a loaded barbell from the floor and bringing it up to your hips and standing upright. So in powerlifting, you get 3 attempts at each of those 3 exercises. And your score is based upon your maximum lifts in each exercise that is adjusted somewhat for how much you weigh and how old you are. So there's some kind of formula that takes all of that into account. And this is absolutely true that for a very, very brief period of time, I held a national record in the squat. And I was actually super, super proud of this. I love leg day. Some people say I try to avoid it. Let's just can we just do upper body again? Love leg day. Love the squat. I think it's one of the most important exercises that anybody can do, not even with weights necessarily, but just standing up and sitting down and getting your core muscles connected to your lower body. It's one of the most important exercises I teach my patients how to do. If they're having difficulty getting up, doing stairs, just limb weakness in general, it's the most important exercise. So briefly, I held a record, and the record was 309 pounds. And it was a record because
all at once,
because I'm old.
Hey,
so maybe it doesn't sound like a ton of weight.
Don't think that we're not impressed.
309 pounds. And I should, state that this is a natural competition. There are some competitions where people will take performance enhancing drugs, and this is sort of accepted. I'm not into that.
Right.
So this is, just me and a belt and some knee sleeves and a lot of gumption. So that was the national record that I held for a little while.
Congratulations. Where do you find time to play bass guitar?
Oh my goodness. So that was something that I started during COVID, but let's be honest. Let's go back before med school. Let's go back before doing all this cool stuff at Roswell Park. I always thought I would be in the music industry somehow. I am the world's biggest music fan. I love music of all types. And I used to write a lot of music and just thought this is where I'm going to be when I grow up. Turns out, though, that in college, I discovered I don't have talent.
Uh-oh.
That's a tough thing to come to grips with.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I love music. I love writing. I love everything about it, but I'm actually not good at doing it.
Bulldog, we met a doctor at Roswell.
Dr. Betts is a drummer. I think, if I remember correctly.
Dr. Betts is actually an excellent drummer.
Okay.
And I can attest to this because we've played in a band.
Whoa! I thought you had no talent. What
I
are
don't.
you doing here?
I
All
don't.
right.
He carries
Strum
us.
forward.
You know what they say, that the band is only as good as the drummer. Well, he's
Right.
excellent. So
So you're all set.
it works out. But yeah, during COVID, when all of a sudden we found that we weren't doing social things and had more time on our hands, I was able to get a cheap bass off of Craigslist. And bass is kind of nice because it's just 4 strings and you usually just play 1 string at a time. For those of us who are not super
Right.
coordinated, it was the perfect instrument to start
Don't need
on.
any of those long fingered jazz chords on the bass.
Absolutely
Probably,
not.
anyway.
Absolutely not. So it's been a lot of fun just to learn some of my favorite songs and eventually be able to play with other people. It's a total blast.
Yeah.
I'm not going to quit my day job, but boy, it is fun.
Good for you.
Dr. Shernan Holton of Roswell, physician, chief of blood and marrow transplantation there. It's been delightful, informative, and it feels really good to be, partnered with you and with Roswell Park. We've loved what we've learned about it, being able to share some of our personal stories as well. And it's been really great getting to know you today and everyone on the Roswell team.
Awesome. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for coming to do it.
You're welcome. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back with more after the update here on WGR.
Got something to say? Say it anytime.